Welcome, everyone. I'm excited today to have with me special guest Irene McCann-Braun. How are you, Irene?
I'm good, thanks.
That's good. Now, you are a private reading specialist and you have a significant background in L&D, learning and development, and instructional design. So I'd love for us to just firstly get to know you a little bit more and the work that you do. Can you give us a little bit of an insight into what exactly is a private reading specialist and who you are and how you help people?
Okay, great. Yeah. Well, after working as a classroom teacher in Seattle, Washington for many, many, many years, I began focusing and working more on the side that I really loved, which was reading. And I focused and I worked with some great experts from University of Washington and Columbia University Teachers College and Lesley College, where I got my master's.
Yeah.
And I worked with a big body of students and parents and teachers and experts to design individual learning programs using different frameworks and strategies.
Mm-hmm.
And so I took all of that with me abroad into the international school system where I worked for over 10 years.
Yeah.
And I now design those individual learning plans for struggling readers. Maybe they're struggling because of dyslexia, maybe they're undiagnosed,
Yeah.
maybe they're English language learners, maybe they're, I don't know, neurodiverse in some way. And
Yeah.
so those frameworks and those strategies I pick and choose now. I have a toolbox.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can pick and choose what works depending on who you're
Yeah.
working with as well.
Yeah.
You're based in Bali now, I believe, which is awesome.
Yeah. Yes. Bali, Indonesia. Love
Yeah.
it here. Mhm.
Beautiful. And
Yeah, I'm a private reading. I'm a private reading specialist. Yeah, and I work with struggling readers who are struggling with their fluency.
mhm, mhm.
And my goal for them is to be able to love reading, to pick up that book, to
Yeah.
want to pick up that book.
Yeah. Love that. And so how did your own business come about? Because you mentioned there you've had, a wealth of teaching experience, worked at lots of international schools over the years. So tell me about like that decision to then go and start your own business and what that was like for you at the time.
Oh man, that's a great question. And if you had asked me, I think 10 years ago, 20 years ago, would you ever consider being an entrepreneur, opening up your own business? Not in a million years.
Mm,
Never
mm,
could I have imagined this. But there was that perfect storm. There was just a perfect storm. There was COVID, of course, for all of us, right?
yeah.
That kind of was a reason for change. But
Mm,
during
mm,
that time, I became single. I moved, not just moved, but I moved houses. I moved countries. I moved schools. I moved jobs. I moved all of my kids. And so this was during a time when I wasn't in the classroom anymore because there was no classroom to go to.
yeah.
And so I was teaching students online through
Mm,
Zoom, learning about Zoom. I was teaching my own students, my
yeah.
own kids,
Yeah.
and the students. And so I had all of this Zoom and learning going on at home. Oh, there was just no way I could go back into the classroom. So
Mm,
I couldn't do that 9 to 5 anymore and be at home with my kids and just do everything that I used to be able to do. I took the leap and I was doing it anyway. I was on Zoom teaching and I decided why not? I had to start thinking outside of the box.
yeah. Yeah.
And so this has just been sort of years in the making
Yeah.
as a teacher. I'm not the only one. I know there's a lot of educators out there who, found that this is a great platform to reach more kids
Mm,
globally
mm.
and more students, not just kids.
Yeah, I love that. So it's kind of, COVID kind of forced you to think differently and talk about packing a lot of change into your life all at once. It seems like everything
Yeah.
is changing all at the same time. So why not throw a business on top of it as well and add that to
Why
the
not?
pile,
Yeah.
you
Why not?
know?
And a doctorate degree. I started a doctorate degree too. Why
Why not? Why not?
not?
Fabulous. And so in those early days of the business and as you started to grow the business, obviously, for a lot of people, there's that leap of faith in your ability to do that and work in a different way and work in a different context, but also having to generate your own revenue, having to generate your own income as well, going from maybe like more of a stable salary into entrepreneurship. What were some of the like key sort of challenges or problems that
Mhm.
you faced in those early days, and And what were some of the things that really helped you kind of move through the launch phase and then into the growth phase of your business where you are now?
Well, the launch phase just came about as I leap into the fire before thinking. I always have been that person who just nothing, maybe 40% is perfect, but I'm going to start anyway. So I spent a lot of years making a lot of mistakes. If I could go back to those first couple of years, yeah, I could name a lot of different challenges that, I hired a marketing company, a 360 marketing company. I say 360 because they did everything. And I wasn't ready for that yet. I didn't even know what call to action was. Like there's a lot of, I knew nothing. I was a teacher and I knew a lot about what I did, but there's so much more that I needed to know. And I know that now. I wasn't surrounding myself yet with the right people, with the right communities, with the people who could help me where I was at. I think that was my biggest challenge. Yeah. That community, finding that community to support me where I was.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, entrepreneurship, when you dive into something like that, it can feel pretty lonely. You feel like you're going through all of these things by yourself. You have no one to lean on to
It's really lonely.
ask questions to, or feel like things are normal and all sorts of things. So yeah, 100%, community is super important at that stage as well. And like you said, knowing what to do in what order as well, because just because other people have it for their businesses, like a marketing team, doesn't mean that, you're ready for it or at the stage that you need it, and working that out can be quite tricky on your own.
Really true. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And so when did things really start to shift for you in the business? Like you went through those early days where you obviously hindsight is great to look at all the mistakes and things like that as well. What do you think was like, 2 or 3 big kind of shifts that started to happen in the business where you thought, okay, now I'm off and racing. Now I've really got something here.
Let's see. Yeah, I spent a lot of months with zero income. I think when I first got my first client, and I'll be honest, it's been in the last year.
Yeah.
One shift was actually seeing success, as small as it was, a teeny tiny connection that led me to clients. That was a huge shift. And actually, another shift for my business and where I am now was a meeting that I didn't even get business with this person. But the fact was I had a meeting and I felt so alive after that. Like, yes, okay, I'm meeting people. It was so exciting to be out there and to be part of the game and to know that it was possible. And it's such a small little piece, but I spent a lot of, like you said earlier, a lot of lonely weeks and months of developing video and content and not really connecting with people. And I think when I started connecting, it gave me that energy. There was energy behind what it was that I wanted.
Yeah.
It propelled me. It kept me going. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. And I remember our first conversations as well, Irene. I think it was around that time where you kind of like, okay, now I feel like I'm onto something, but I really want to start accelerating things. And I know LinkedIn was an area of focus for you to really start to expand those networks and those connections. So tell me a little bit around like why LinkedIn, where were you at that point in time, and what were you really looking to achieve?
Yeah, when we met, I came into the game a newbie. I was tiptoeing around LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Like, ooh, what's this? What's this all about? I was lurking and I was seeing what other people were doing, and I had a little bit of imposter syndrome, like, oh, I'm not one of them. But I needed the basics. I needed to know how to write a profile. What should my profile banner look like? I needed to know, how do I access my audience? How do I communicate with them? What do I say? What don't I say? Where do I find you? I know you're out there, but how do I find you? I spent a lot of time on Facebook, and Facebook is great, but I wasn't finding the quality of people that I needed to find.
You mentioned sort of Facebook there, like you weren't really sort of finding the right kinds of people on Facebook and LinkedIn. You knew your audience was there, but it was more around like, how do you find them? What are the right steps? And like, how do you even position yourself and make sure you've got the right profile and everything so that you're credible, they take you seriously, and then you can build those connections. And I know you've been a part of our tribe now, Irene, as well, and that's some work that we've done together. So I'd love to hear, like, what were some of the trainings, or what were some of the real things around the community that really helped you in that space as well?
Okay. I needed so much help in just the basics in getting started. So I joined the course, the In-Demand Tribe course. And with that came the community, which was huge for me, the community and the weekly live Zoom coaching calls. So my problem was connecting with my audience, and my problem was also getting my profile and learning about LinkedIn, getting my profile all set up. So when I joined the course, inside the course, along with the community and the live coaching calls, I was able to get a great banner, be confident in my banner, have a great profile, get that all set up. And so I liked it. I actually liked it. And then from there, got the scripts. I got the calling, the connection call scripts.
Yep.
So that was huge. And the email scripts too. And they're so simple and so small, but it gave me the confidence to start. I learned about Sales Navigator. And from there, I started to collect like-minded educators and other people in my circle, in my community here, but also globally. And I started with the scripts, and when the connection calls, I started using the calls and being able to start the conversation using the script. That was maybe a year ago, I think. And now I may refer to them, but now I've kind of made it my own. I was really nervous talking to them and starting the conversations with them at the beginning. And now I see one come across, I just get back to them right away, easily in my own words. I think I needed that confidence to get started. And that led me to have the conversations with the right people. And have a few coffees. And from there, I was able to get clients. So, and now not only do I have clients, I have those connections with authors. I have connections with educators. And I think I have 2,000 followers now. So I was more confident in the calls. That led to me having more conversations with them. It was just normal to have conversations with them. At first, it was very mechanical. And then it just became normal. And now if someone says, hey, I want to connect, we connect. And I'm actually a connector. What I do is I see an educator here, and I see an organization calling for speakers, and I know that this educator would be great for this, and I connect them in that way too.
I think that's awesome, because LinkedIn is such a relationship-driven platform as well. And, it was firstly established to network and, be able to connect one another. And so if you're naturally that way inclined, LinkedIn is a great place, because you start connecting others, and then it starts to come back towards you as well. So, I'm so pleased that, your confidence has risen having those conversations, because I know it led to some projects and some more work for you. So you started connecting with people on the platform, which is awesome. And then your confidence was growing, having those conversations. And so what impact did that have on your business in terms of the growth and the revenue and things starting to snowball?
Well, number one, I feel like it led me to have conversations with the right people in my network, in my community, globally, which will be important, I think, down the road. But right now, in my community, I actually sat down with a few different educators from different organizations, not just teachers, but the owner of an orphanage here, and another educator who runs with the Green School. She runs a different part of that, and she works with the local community. And I sat down with them, and from there, after those coffees, it just led me to someone who had a tutoring program, and she needed to let that go and give it to someone. And I was the one who came top of mind because of the connections and And here I am now. I have over 20 clients right now and a wait list. And that to me has had the biggest impact because now from there I can grow. And from there also, I've gotten some really good ideas for my course because I want to take my live tutoring, my live work, which I'm doing now, but I'm putting it into a course, which will allow me more freedom to move around with my family.
I just love your journey, Irene, because you've maxed out your client base that you have right now. You've got a wait list, and now we're looking at, how do we really leverage this moving forward? Because now we've generated the demand around what you do, and it's really about like, okay, now we want to talk about leverage, and we want to really set you up so that you've got that space, like you said, to spend more time with your kids, have a bit more of a lifestyle. I know every time we've checked in a couple of times, you do some yoga of a morning and things like that as well. So
yes,
maybe some more yoga time.
Yes, I need that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so, it's awesome. And if you think back to, 12 months ago, where you were really nervous, to have those kinds of conversations, if you could tell yourself back 12 months ago with, what things have turned out like now, what are some of the things that you would say, or maybe there's someone that was in that position themselves right now, what advice would you have for them?
Don't spend so much time behind the camera making content because it can be lonely. And that's a great part of it. But I think getting out there, meeting people, and even people you don't suspect would be able to be part of your network. They may not be, but I guarantee they know someone. And I guarantee also that the interaction will give you energy. You'll come back energized. Even if you're an introvert like me, I would choose to just stay at home. And I get that because that's who I am. But I always kick myself and go, why didn't I do that sooner? I could have saved a lot of time. And I was making $0 for so long. So when I made that first 100 and then that first 1,000, and it's hard for me to even say it, but it's growing. Each month is growing. Let's break 6 figures now. Why not? But I would say to anybody who is on the fence to get out there into the community and make connections through LinkedIn. That's how I started. So it's possible.
I love that as well, because it's it's really natural to have like a level of skepticism when you try something new or you're not sure, particularly when it's a new platform or a new way of working. So I just love how you have just dived in, not having to have everything perfect, because in the tribe, as you know, we aim for 80% perfection and we get it out there and we get things happening. And I've just loved seeing your business grow and your revenue grow. And I think each time we sort of check in, you're like, I've got so many projects on the go right now. Like, so it's awesome to see that.
80%.
Love that. So what's the big picture goal for you, like in the next sort of, 2 to 3 years in the business? I know we're working on the course right now. That's going to free up a lot of your time. What's the real big picture goal with the business? And like, what are you really most excited about with the work you're doing right now?
Well, this is what I love. So it's really easy for me, I think, to follow this business and to make it work because I believe in it. I've got so many years behind me, so many strategies that I can individualize. And so I'm confident about it. But I think the two of my big picture goals are to take this global. I have a lot of global connections, but how do I get them into my course? And that's my biggest goal is to grow my course. And from there, that will give my family a lot of freedom in so many different ways. So I think that's my big picture right there.
I love it. I'm so excited. I feel like we're only just getting started, Irene. This is awesome.
It's good. It's good to see movement and growth. And I think a lot of it is, I don't know if this would have happened. I don't know without the tribe, without the community, without you and Susan, because I wouldn't have built the community that led me to where I was now.
Yeah, that's awesome. So if there's people, like I know you've been a part of other, coaching programs and you've invested in yourself in different ways all the way along in your business. And so if there were people that were kind of like on the fence about, whether or not they should join us in the tribe, what would be your advice, Irene?
Well, my advice, you will move if I was talking to them, you will move the needle, but how fast do you want to move the needle? And it could take you years. It took me years. Or you can streamline it because the course isn't, like you say, 80%. The course is 110%. You give more value than what I paid for. And I'm saying that as an educator. I know how to build a course. There's a lot of value there. Being live with us weekly and in the Facebook community, Amy, you and Susan, the community always offers their 2 cents. Yeah. And their expertise, hands down. So such a great program. Yeah. And there's a lot of great coaches out there, but what you bring to the table is authenticity and integrity. Like, you're the real deal.
Oh, thanks, Irene. That's
it's well, and it's true.
Yeah, we really appreciate that because we're really selective about the people that we work with. In all honesty, I'm really protective about our community, and I only let the good ones in, as we say. And you're one of the good ones, Irene. So it's awesome to see, the people that we work with and just seeing the progress week in and week out is just fantastic. And that's what lights me up as a coach. So it's really, really cool to see.
That's right. Yeah, those light bulb moments for our students, right? I know you recognize that. A lot for educators or if coaches even, there's a lot of light bulb moments that don't happen. So it's those moments in between the light bulb moments that we live for, right? Those are the magical thing that are the light bulb moments. But how many days and hours and weeks in between, those are the moments where the Aligned Tribe community and you and Susan are there for us during those times too, when we're not always celebrating. Mm-hmm. And that has kept my momentum going through the year. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's awesome. I love that because it's, we're real about the journey. Like business is not easy. It's not simple. There's always challenges and problems that arise, and we have really, really good days, and we have some days where we just want to pull the doona over our head and we want to forget that things are even happening. So I think I love that. And I think, the community is a really big part of that as well. It's really nice to see everyone supporting one another because it's a really, safe space. There's no judgment. We just want to see everyone winning and growing. So it's awesome that you've had that experience. And like I said, we love working with you, and I feel like we're just getting started, and I can't wait to see, how far the business goes with this course and you getting a little bit more time freedom now that you've really maxed out your one-on-ones and you've got a waiting list for that too. So
yes, there's still, like I said, globally, there's still so many connections to make. Bigger connections, like how do I contact the directors and the owners of big organizations and talk to them about their students. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
we're on it.
Okay, good.
Yeah, we're on it. We've got every little piece of the puzzle mapped out, so you'll be right. But Irene, I really appreciate you jumping on and just sharing your journey, not only about your business and what you do, because I know, number one, you're super passionate about the work that you do. You make such a big impact with the students that you teach. And it's just awesome to see you being able to help the amount of people that you want to help. And it's been, it's amazing to work with you, and you contribute so much to our community as well. So
thank you.
I just wanted to acknowledge you for that.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks so much.